The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
You think you can lie to me? I see it's written all over your face. Scientific intricity you created out in space. Oh yeah. You can do what you wanna do. Tap phones with no real listening. You can think how you wanna think now, but you can't stop us. The truth is rising. You can lose, we refuse. I will go down without a fight. You think that I can't see what you're doing to me? You cannot defeat me. 'Cause I'm in your league. My hand on your heel, I'm pulling through. A step ahead of you. You think that I can't see? You know how you promise with me.
That's right. A higher power is with us, my brothers and sisters. How are you doing today? I hope you all are doing well. Of course, I'm Elder Rick Harshyar of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly update. I'm so glad to be here before you all. Blessings. There's been a lot going on, but I'm glad to be here with another Patreon before I fly out next week. Our loyal Patreon members have been chopping at the bit, has been very patient with me, continuing to support the work. So, of course, I'm going to be there for our Patreon members, and I wasn't going to miss it for the world today. So, I have something great to talk about, along with a few phone calls that I'll take through Patreon. All right, 515-605-9327. I'm going to open up a short blog talk so that you all can chime in, the church's loyal Patreon members, so you can chime in on this, segueing into our Patreon discussion. Usually we do Patreon, being that under YouTube guidelines, there's certain things that we just cannot readily discuss without some type of pushback. So Patreon and the Academy affords us that opportunity to speak freely. All right. We still thank the Most High for this platform, but all in all, we're going to follow the guidelines. Anyway, before I segue and tell you what we'll be talking about today, let me give you an update on the Hebrew and Bible Academy. And guess what? It's an ebb and flow from Friday to Saturday to Sunday. All right. We're going to be attacking that the conversation that few can actually talk about. Who is the synagogue of Satan? All right. Who was Christ identifying as the synagogue of Satan will be our lesson in the academy, where we'll be going into Jesuits, the connection between that and mainstream religious leaders who are controlling religion as well as politics. Who are they, and does the Bible identify them? Well, we're going to be doing that, and we're going to also tie in the fact that the same people who are the synagogue of Satan lied concerning Christ's coming. They came up with a theory called the rapture, claiming that an antichrist was going to come on the earth and the church will be raptured, a pre-tribulation ideology claiming that the church and those who believe in Christ is going to disappear. Therefore, the Christians really don't have to worry about the big old boogeyman antichrist, because why? They'll be gone already, out of sight, and only the unbelievers will go through tribulation. Well, the same people who are the synagogue of Satan came up with that lie, that theory of the rapture. And we're going to show you how the Jesuits work in the dark. That's right, to deceive the minds of the masses. Now, when we say Jesuits, it's not that, listen, there's no absolute in anything. Not to say that there's not good people that join certain groups and then realize, well, okay, this is not what I signed up for. So this is not an indictment on anyone individually, but I'm saying Jesuit because right now, under the YouTube guidelines, we're allowed to say that without getting censored. But all in all, we're going to identify the synagogue of Satan this Sunday in the academy. And guess what? Using their own words. Using their own, they're telling you that they're the children of Satan, that they're here to bring forth Satan's will. And if we can examine the liberal agendas that's been pushed on the earth right now, no one can claim that there's God-fearing people, okay, behind all of these policies that's progressing the world downward into the pits of hell. No one can claim that these are people who believe in God who are pushing these agendas. So who's pushing them? The synagogue of Satan, okay? And one thing about the Bible, we use the Bible as it was intended by God to bring forth the truth. The Bible cannot be used as some deceptive tool like they try to claim the white man's book. No. They can theorize and use theory and trickery with the Bible in front of them. But if you go into the Bible is absolute. The Bible actually identifies the enemy, and that's what we'll be doing this coming Sunday. All right. Now, before I segue, okay. Also, I want to tell you all we are coming into week 8 of the Hebrew Bible Academy. Right. So we are taking new enrollments, which will start about a month from now. So don't worry about it. If you missed this Hebrew Bible Academy, don't worry about it. Go to historytimes.org. It'll tell you exactly how to enroll. It's very low in cost. You don't have to worry about that. It doesn't cost much at all. Go to historytimes.org and get in for the full 3 months, which should happen right around or after the so-called midterm elections. All right. So it's going to be after the elections, actually. So make sure you enroll in the academy to get in. All right. For the first academy, going to historytimes.org. And thank you, Elder Dell, for conveniently putting in the link so that they can go there, because you've been missing out on a lot if you're not in the Hebrew Bible Academy. These are Bible lessons like you've never seen before, taught in an engaging manner. And it's actually fun to actually learn the book. It's not as hard as most people think. It's breaking through the lies, getting to the simplicity of the Bible, that makes the Hebrew Bible Academy what it has become. So I know some people get intimidated. They think, okay, the Bible, it's too vast. It's this, it's that. I'm not a Bible scholar, whatever the case is. That's for other people. Folks, the Bible is for everyone. It's for all of us. Okay? And we teach it, we give you the foundation of the Bible so that you can easily learn. Therefore, when you're no longer on these broadcasts, you can pick up the Bible and read it in its proper context, in its proper narrative understanding the characters within the Bible. Okay, so this is why so many people have been hands off, or kind of afraid, if you will, to actually embrace the book. Because why? They see these charlatans, they see these false pimp preachers, they have seen even modern day Catholicism and others use the Bible incorrectly. All right. But the Bible is only one narrative, one interpretation, one understanding. It's quite that simple. It's the book for the chosen people of the chosen people. It's a book, that's right, of the children of Israel, who are the good guys in the Bible. Okay. They're the good guys. They're the oppressed. They're the people who the nations have utilized and incentivized themselves off of, only to fulfill a promise to one day stand above all as the chosen people, chosen by God himself. When you understand the Bible with that narrative, it brings everything to light. So get into the academy, historytimes.org. And folks, if you're in this academy, you don't want to miss this coming Sunday. Who is the synagogue of Satan? Why was Christ pointing out a particular group? That and more. And you're going to be shocked with what we found, using their own words. It's not me making an accusation. I'm going to use Christ's words and say, you need to figure out who these people are, because they're going to look to destroy everything. They're going to throw everything upside down and confuse the masses, and they're coming after you. They're coming after God's people. Christ warned us. So I'm going to use Christ's words to say, this is how you find them in the end days. And then I'm going to go into the synagogue of Satan's own records and have them introduce themselves to the world. I'm not going to make no accusations at all. They're telling us who they are. It's who's pushing what you see today. That's all I can say. Speaking of narratives, before I segue over to Patreon, okay, let's see the topic for our Patreon today. Thank you for being patient with me for the last couple of weeks, going through Tabernacle and everything that I had to go through and couldn't be here for our Patreon. Thank you for hanging in there with us, okay? And I hope today satisfy your angst and waiting for your update weekly through Patreon, right? Let's go here real quick so I can see our topic today in discussion. I'm going to try to have Brittany on, Truman versus granddaughter, on for some health updates. I'm going to try to get her on. And we're going to talk about, let me see. Okay, our Patreon today, living through an ethnic cleansing. What does an ethnic cleansing look like? Will be our discussion on Patreon. We're living through, or can it be, question mark, that we're living through an ethnic cleansing? That something is going on where there's some collusion in erasing a specific group? Okay. Is there some collusion in erasing or cleansing out certain areas of a specific group? Could that be? Who are they? Well, I'm going to go into that. Living through an ethnic cleansing will be our discussion on Patreon. Okay, so Patreon /AGathering144. And I'm going to open up the line so that to let brothers and sisters know what a real ethnic cleansing has always looked like historically, to compare it to what's going on in the earth today, so that we can avoid getting ethnic cleansed. Okay, will be our Patreon discussion. Now, hey, how you doing, Kim? I see you there. Bless you. Tina, how are you? Auntie B's in the house. Brother Derek, how are you? Our familiar people, how are you? You know we love you. Real quick, let's discuss this, in short. I'm going to segue over to Patreon, but before I segue over, as you can see in the title, Using Pity to Fool Us. And guess what? This run ebb and flow with everything I'm talking about. Ethnic cleansing, right? No one would voluntarily, in their right minds, off themselves. Okay? So what does it mean? Using pity to fool us. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And here's some words that you all need to know. All right? That we weren't taught in church, coming up in school. Politically charged programming. You have to know when your programs and what you're seeing is edging you emotionally to decide something politically. You have to know when you're being nudged emotionally to get an intended, that's right, outcome from the programmers. Okay? Using pity to fool us. One thing about the Bible, and this is why I love the Bible, I love the fact that God showed me who I am. The Bible was the key tool to give me insight historically into what has happened and what will happen. One thing about the Bible is not just taking ownership of who I am, being a child of Israel, according to my forefathers. The Bible has also given me insight to the enemies who are politically aligned and have always been politically aligned against our people. Okay, that means we have to live in a world with them, so you can't avoid interacting with them, right? But now you know who they are and what their agendas are against you and your people, and now you know how to interact with them accordingly. Now, according to them, you know how to operate with them politically. Okay? You know their true agenda, so you're not going to allow them to come in and with a trust factor that would allow them to come in to totally annihilate you and your family. Right? So there's something called politically charged programming. Now let me give you an example of that. Politically charged programming. Remember when we were given the George Floyd story? See? The George Floyd story? Immediately we lost our common sense. And the injustice and all those things, we understand that. But you have to understand when you are emotionally charged, okay, to not think clearly. Okay? You have to understand political strategy. You have to look at when they want us to remember oppression. Remember inequality. When they would like to conveniently have us remember slavery. But here's the issue. I don't mind remembering those things. But every time we bring up something that happened in the past and respond with, guess what? You should now make full restitution or reparations for that. Immediately they claim it happened a long time ago and that we should forget the past. Well, if we should forget the past, why every time when an election comes up, you go into the past or find something politically charged that can move us racially against white people? Okay. Why? You can't have it both ways. It seems as if they would like us to forget about the past, right? They would like us to forget about the past, right? When we seek to benefit from bringing it up. But they want us to remember the past when it politically benefits them. So you must look at the timing of everything. You can't have it both ways. When we bring up the past and say, well, this is what needs to happen, give us reparations and restitutions, and let's go back and make sure that we level these people up so that we can incentivize ourselves against future perpetrators who may seek to kill us again. You tell us to forget the past. That was a long time ago. But every time during an election or sometime around that time, you can find a politically charged program that'll get us out of our emotions. And y'all don't even realize you're being played. More examples. Ava DuVernay. Watch this person, folks. You have to watch people like Ava DuVernay. Just because they look like us, they're not for us. Central Park 5, Netflix Miseries announces all-star cast. Do you know that this was conveniently released in March of 2019 to get what? To get racial division stoked leading up to showing Trump is racist and all these things, George Floyd and all these things, so that they could get the emotional outcome they needed. You think they care about 5 black guys that got locked up or, that got locked up unjustly and there's some justice? Why are these things politically convenient in a time of politics? Know what politically charged programming is, folks. And there's no people that are more emotionally driven and who can be controlled by emotions than our people. You get no currency or policy being emotional. Next, here we go again. I'm going to show you how it looks again. This is how it looks again, y'all. I'm teaching y'all something right now. Till. The Emmett Till story. And conveniently, it's not a face of Emmett Till there. It's the new progression pushing the matriarchy over the black man. Same narrative. Making black women the hero. In 1955, after Emmett Till is murdered, here it is. We got a quasi same feeling of George Floyd coming out in October, right before it's time for us to make decisions, right, politically for ourselves going forward, right? Vows to expose the racism behind the attack while working to have those involved brought to justice. No justice, no peace. No voting, no. Same cadence. The question, brothers and sisters, outright is, are we as foolish or are you as ill-informed as they think you are? Is the question. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to, myself, this is me. I'm not going to get involved in it. I know who's behind it. And I know after we are emotionally charged into making these decisions, the finances and policies that will go to the same people who are pushing this, who will be incentivized against us right after, that's right after November. But they have to emotionally charge us because what? There's not enough of them to actually have a constituency to decide elections. So they must do what? They must become gatekeepers and work behind with, that's right, emotional programming to trigger us into financing them. And that's what the process is. The electoral process is incentivizing someone through policy. So listen, y'all make decisions on what you want, but I don't want to hear crap about no reviews on Till and reviews on this. Our people was talking about the Central Park 5 like it happened yesterday because they wanted you to remember it. And then after it was utilized for what they wanted to utilize it for, who cares about the Central Park 5 anymore? Who cares about it? They would like us to forget about the past when remembering the past benefits us. Or it happened a long time ago, you're racist. Well, if that's the case, stop producing and making racially based, racial divide based movies. If it's really about forgetting the past, let's forget the past. Don't even talk about it. See? But they need to show a black man as a victim. They need to show a black man in a victim position. It's part of the ideology. It's part of the Willie Lynch programming. The only time we're going to support a black man is if he's arrested or killed. But we're not going to incentivize them. See? We're not going to empower them. Right? We have to empower the people that we put in their neighborhoods to control them. Who we have programmed to control them. Wake up. Now, some people might ask, well, Elder Ricocciar, you are a Bible man, right? What should we remember? Okay, great question. Great question. What should we remember then? Well, this is what we should remember. Now, you all can get triggered if y'all want, okay? You can get triggered if you want with these productions, not realizing they're politically driving you to use that's right, your electoral currency to put people in place that has nothing to do with you. That's up to you. But what should we remember, one might ask? For me, I could care less about that movie. Okay? Listen, I do care for the injustice against our people. This is what's driving us to do what we do. This is what drives us. To make sure there is no more Emmett Tills or victims and others. To bring young men back and young women back to God so that we'll understand who the enemies are and protect ourselves from them. That's the best protection we could give to make sure no Emmett Tills or others happen in the future. Okay? But don't bring up no Emmett Till and all this whole other stuff, but yet you'll knock down when someone says, well, what about the reparations for these people? Not just a family, not the Till family, but every person who went through chattel slavery. That's right. Foundational Black Americans. Okay? Deuteronomy 25 and 17. Who and what we should remember? What should we remember according to the Bible? Well, the Bible teaches us, brothers and sisters, don't allow them, listen to me clearly, don't allow them to dictate what we should remember. Because they only pull up things that we should remember that politically and financially benefits them. So what should we remember? Not this crap. What should we remember? When I say not this crap, let me make it clear. Make it clear. I'm not talking about the sister. The sister is a beautiful sister. Okay? We have nothing against our people. All right. When I say not this crap, I'm talking about this production that my family, neither anyone we know will support this crap, which is these emotionally charged productions strategically meant to move us emotionally during a time that they're trying to get us engaged politically. What should we remember? Hold on, my Patreon people. I'm coming right with you. What should we remember? The Bible tells us, remember what Amalek did unto thee. By the way, when we were come out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy God hath given thee rest from all thine enemies round about, in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven, and thou shalt not forget it. God tells us in the Bible to remember Amalek. Hence the reason the Bible is so important. Well, suppose Amalek is in a political position over the earth, financial and otherwise, to target us without us even knowing they are Amalek. Amalek does the same thing over and over. Okay, he's too cowardly to face the men. So he preyed on the weak first before engaging the men. Amalek, when we came out of Egypt, knew that we had our armies in front, and he came behind the caravan and started killing the elderly people. Sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Elderly people. And then after that, he started targeting the women and the children. See, the Bible actually gives us an insight on their political agendas and how Amalek rolls. So no, we're not going to remember. Listen, what happened with Emmett Till, justice will happen when Christ returns, but we could care less about hearing about it now over and over again. We don't want to hear about what happened with anything. We don't want to hear about George Floyd, none of that crap. We're going to remember what the Bible states. We're not going to let them politically drive us into remembering what they want us to remember. When God said, remember Amalek, folks. And I wonder who Amalek is. Well, Christ identified Amalek as the synagogue of Satan. They're blotted out of the book of life. Therefore, they know they're not going to make it. This is why they deal in a religion that's anti-Christ. Because they know there's no opportunity for them after the judgment of this world. So this is what we're going to remember. We could care less, because how does that benefit Hollywood and others to show these stories how they continually kill and destroy black men? How does that benefit them? Showing black men in a negative posture, in a defeated posture. That's how it benefits them. And then it moves to the women's emotions to say, oh, mama, let's protect the children like Willie Lynch so that bad old white men don't kill us. Let's make our little boys into girls so that they don't go to jail. Let's make them into, emotional wrecks so that they're not a threat to society and don't get killed out there. This is what we must remember. One other thing we must remember. See, this is how we're supposed to be utilizing this book, folks. We need to remember what God tells us to remember, not media. These politically charged pieces that have our people, they think we're stupid. It's time for us to rise up in the spirit of the Most High and not fall for their games that they pull strategically at a certain time right before the political process begins. Last but not least, what should we remember? Well, I'm at Deuteronomy 32 and 7. What should we remember? Well, God tells us out of the Bible, the God of the Hebrews, I am an Israelite according to bloodline, not according to some religious belief. Okay? I'm from the child of Israel. I'm a child of Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. The Bible tells us, Deuteronomy 32 and 7, remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee. We must remember the days of old, the days of our forefathers, the days of the prophets, the days of the kings, David. See? The days when Israel once was united as one nation before the curse. Folks, understand how politics work. Okay? Quid pro quo. You never go into any process unless someone is giving you something right there, right now. Don't ever go into it. Never go on a promise. Everyone else that's out there triggering us emotionally to go out there are getting something for doing so. I went to get my shirts out of the cleaners the other day. And you know, all due respect to my brother was looking pretty sharp outside. They had girls outside, a young lady outside, and asked, "Hey man, did you register? Did you register, brother? Did you register?" And I'm like, "Okay, oh, you out here registering people?" Like, yeah. I'm like, "Let me talk to you for a second. I know you're doing your job. No disrespect for you. What are you getting for this?" "Well, brother, man, we got to stop these racists." The first thing he said was, "We got to stop these racists." And you know what my response was? "Brother, the racists got you out here asking me to register." And right there, he went into a comatose, like he didn't even blink. He was just looking at me because they've never programmed a logical response into these people. That's one thing they haven't programmed into them. That's right, a logical response. When they no longer have the race card, there's no response for them. And he said, then he just took his papers and just his clipboard and moseyed on along. Because this wasn't a conversation he wanted to have. Okay. All right. With that, thank you, brothers and sisters. I'm glad to be back on the proverbial horse. I'm going to open up the lines over on Patreon. And folks, understand when they're using pity to fool us. They don't care about black men. And no longer will we allow them to use black men who were victimized in the past to get our emotional currency. Let's forget the past like they want us to, folks. When they bring up Emmett Till, when they bring up all these others and people hung on trees, tell them, listen, that happened in the past. Unless you're going to give me something for remembering that. Because I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to a kingdom. So what are you going to give me for remembering what you keep telling us to forget? Okay. We're not supporting their political movies anymore. No one thought about the Central Park 5 until they rolled it out conveniently to have us emotionally charged during an election year. We're not dealing with it. Wake up, folks. This is how they get you to do something for nothing. This is how they get you to participate in a system that have always destroyed us for zero. If they care about black men, let's not talk about dead black men anymore. Let's now empower the black men that are living now. Let's empower them. That's right. Hollywood and others lead positions for only black straight men who are family oriented. Hollywood? Hollyweird? How about that? I just wanted to put it out there, folks, because sometimes thought-provoking conversation allows a spirit to go out there to change how we do things. And it starts with an idea, a thought. And don't allow the enemy to emotionally trigger us into telling us what we should remember when it's convenient for them. When the Bible told us to remember Amalek. And you know what? That's right. We know exactly who Amalek is. They're the ones that have set up the construct, folks, to push these pity movies, to show black people as victims and them as the savior. All right, that concludes our update for the week. No more victim, folks. We're not accepting the position as victims anymore, ever. We are the children of God. And this is why so many people went out to the blockbuster, Black Panther, take away the stupid pagan witchcraft and evil they were doing and trying to invoke all these African spiritualistic rituals up in it. Throw away that junk. But outside, you know why most people supported in the spirit and why the enemy was afraid of Black Panther? Because it showed, that's right, it showed the power of us when we're together, led by black men. But of course, they couldn't end it without a black on black fight. Okay. Of course, they couldn't end it. And guess what? And at the end, folks, it's not going to be a black on black fight, folks. It's going to be Esau against the 10 horns. I mean, it's going to be Christ, who's Jacob, against the 10 horns, who is Europe. But so many people went to see Black Panther and it resonated with us. And this is what they feared. They put it out there and it became a blockbuster. Because it resonated in our spirit. Because what? We understand that that's our future. Our future is to rule righteously on earth and to change things for the better. And they know it. Now, as soon as that movie became a blockbuster, man, the brother ended up passing away. May the Most High receive him in paradise. And now they come with all this garbage now that we supposed to receive with sisters at the helm. We reject it wholesale. We will not look at it. We will not support it. Not that we don't respect and love our sisters. They're just getting a paycheck. But all in all, we know it's the devil behind those productions. And we're rejecting it because we reject you, Amalek. We remember you, Amalek, and you're not going to use our women as a proxy, being a coward like you were when our people came out of Egypt, slaying the women and children and the elderly in the back because you were too cowardly to face the real men. That's it on that. With that, I'm going to say shalom, hold tight, be there for the academy. Identifying the synagogue of Satan is our Sunday's lesson. See you on Patreon. I'm going to open up the calls almost immediately. Hold tight. HistoryTimes.org. You can only get it like that here, right? Let's go.
You think you controlling me? You thought that I would stay your slave? No strings on me. Oh no, controlling us with your frequencies, making it so hard to get away. You can do what you wanna do. Tap our phones, we know you're listening.
Shot like electrical currents, so current, leaving you paralyzed. And this truth is so amplified while your ego's reduced in size. We a menace to your society, taking your kingdom violently. Bring a paddle to the battle, we can be in the valley of an alley. Just a matter of time, they couldn't come what we done, if you think of Messiah. I run the race until I finish her. How your power giving me the ability